Let's talk about Orania, a town in South Africa where only white Afrikaners live. Tucked away in the remote Karoo region, Orania is unlike any other place in the country. Here, the streets are quiet, the houses are neat, and the population is small, just a few thousand people, all sharing a common heritage. In a country known as the Rainbow Nation, celebrated for its diversity and multiculturalism, Orania stands out for being intentionally one color. The town was founded in 1991, just before the end of Apartheid, by Afrikaners who wanted a place to preserve their way of life. This isn't a historical accident, it's the town's purpose. Entry is tightly controlled, and only those who identify as Afrikaner and speak Afrikaans are allowed to settle here. South Africa's painful history of apartheid was supposed to be over, but Orania looks, to many, like a throwback to that era. The town's strict rules and homogeneous population remind outsiders of a time when segregation was the law of the land. For Orania's residents, it's a self-declared Volksstaat, a place to preserve Afrikaner culture, language, and traditions. They see themselves as guardians of a unique identity, determined to keep their customs alive in a rapidly changing nation. They do all their own work, from farming to running bakeries and schools, and even use their own currency, the ora, for local transactions. This self-sufficiency is a point of pride for the community. Residents see themselves as protecting their identity, passing down language and traditions to the next generation, and building a future they believe is under threat elsewhere in South Africa. But, for millions of South Africans, especially black South Africans, Orania is a symbol of exclusion, a reminder of a past they're trying to move beyond. The town's existence raises uncomfortable questions about race, belonging, and the meaning of freedom in the new South Africa. The town's existence sparks fierce debate. Some argue it's about cultural preservation and self-determination, while others see it as a new face for old segregation. Orania forces South Africa to confront its past and ask what kind of future it wants to build. Orania wasn't built in the distant past. It was founded in 1991, at a pivotal moment in South African history, just as the era of apartheid was coming to an end. The country was on the brink of transformation, with old systems crumbling and a new vision of democracy emerging. In this climate of uncertainty and hope, a group of Afrikaners decided to take a different path. Led by Karel Boshoff, the son-in-law of Hendrik Verwoerd, often called the architect of apartheid, the founders of Orania saw the end of white minority rule as an existential threat to Afrikaner identity, language, and culture. They feared that their way of life would be lost in the new, integrated South Africa. Their answer? To create a town where Afrikaners could control their own destiny, free from outside influence. Orania was envisioned as a place built on the principle of self-determination, where the community could preserve its traditions, language, and values without compromise. To make this vision a reality, they purchased an abandoned town on the banks of the Orange River and set strict rules. Only Afrikaners could live and work there. The founders believed that by limiting residency, they could protect their community from the sweeping changes happening elsewhere. While the rest of South Africa celebrated the birth of democracy and the promise of unity, Orania's founders focused on building a fortress for their culture, a place where they could raise their children according to their own values, and where their language and customs would be safe from outside influence. Critics, however, saw Orania as a rejection of the new South Africa, a private club for one group, clinging to the past, just as the rest of the country was trying to open its doors to all. The town quickly became a symbol of controversy, raising questions about identity, belonging, and the true meaning of freedom in a changing nation. So, how do you actually get into Orania? It's not as simple as just driving up to the gates and asking to move in. Orania is a unique town in South Africa, and its entry process is just as distinctive. The town is known for its strict requirements and careful selection of new residents. It's not enough to be white, you must prove you're Afrikaner by heritage, language, and values. This means you need to speak Afrikaans fluently, have a cultural background rooted in Afrikaner traditions, and share the community's core beliefs. The town is deeply committed to preserving Afrikaner identity, so applicants are expected to demonstrate a genuine connection to this heritage. Every applicant is interviewed to ensure they fit the community's ideals, especially the principle of self-work. In Orania, all jobs, from cleaning to construction, are done by residents themselves. This is a key part of their philosophy, Everyone contributes, and there's a strong emphasis on self-reliance and community participation. The interview process is thorough, aiming to ensure that newcomers will embrace these values and actively participate in daily life. This approach is meant to break from the old system where white people managed and black people labored. In Orania, the idea is that no one is above any kind of work, and everyone is expected to pitch in, regardless of their background or previous status. It's a deliberate attempt to create a new kind of community dynamic, distinct from South Africa's painful past. But the rules also mean that no black, Indian, colored, or English-speaking white South African can live there. The town's exclusivity is enforced by these requirements, making it inaccessible to the vast majority of South Africans, regardless of their interest or intent. Defenders call it cultural preservation, arguing that Orania is simply protecting a unique way of life and language. Critics, however, see it as exclusionary, a modern echo of segregation that keeps others out under the guise of tradition. When your entry requirements exclude most of the country, it's hard not to see echoes of the past. The debate over Orania's policies continues, raising tough questions about identity, belonging, and the meaning of community in today's South Africa. How is Orania legal? South Africa's constitution allows for cultural self-determination, and Orania's leaders use this to justify their exclusivity. The town is technically private property. Residents buy shares, not land, giving them control over who can join. The government mostly tolerates Orania, seeing it as a small, isolated case. But human rights groups argue it violates the spirit of the constitution, warning it sets a dangerous precedent. For neighboring black and colored communities, Orania is a painful reminder of ongoing inequality, a prosperous town they can't enter, right next door. It's living history, and a source of real frustration. Why does Orania matter? Because it's a symbol of South Africa's unresolved tensions. The dream was unity, but Orania shows how deep the divides still run. Some see it as an insult to the idea of a rainbow nation. Others argue that true diversity means letting groups, like the Afrikaners, preserve their identity, even if it's uncomfortable. Orania is a media magnet, a simple story that reveals a complex problem. For many, it's a mirror reflecting a country still wrestling with its past. As long as fear and mistrust linger, Orania will remain a subject of fascination, anger, and debate. A living reminder that South Africa's journey to unity is far from over.